Hello, San Diego. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Claire McGee, and this is Real Talk San Diego, bringing you the business of life in America's finest city. Today, we're discussing signs of financial abuse in your marriage and how to divorce a narcissist. I know you're all wondering about this, and we're about to bring it to you live. So joining me today is my friend Laurie Itkin. She's a certified divorce financial analyst, and she's better known as the options lady around here. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great. We've got some meaty topics today.
We do, and you wore your bright, fun, sunshiny color
yes,
to talk about
the
serious stuff. And also joining us is Laura McGee. She is a mediator and divorce coach with Leave Strong Divorce Services. Happy to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
So we are talking financial abuse today, and you're actually going to share with us some signs or symptoms, if you will, of what to look for that you may be in that same situation yourself.
Right. But before we do that, let's just talk a little bit about Laura, because I know that Laura is also a divorce coach and mediator, and so I want you to be able to weigh in because she also sees signs of financial abuse. So don't be shy. All right.
Hop on in.
Sharing.
All right.
We'll all share. So, I came across this topic because, I work with men and women, but honestly, most of the people that come to me are women. They come to meet with me because they're just really scared. They want to know what their financial life will be like if they get divorced. A lot of these women have not had sex with their spouse in months or years. Mm-hmm. Wow. They are roommates, or they just are waiting till the kids go away to school. Mm-hmm. And when they meet with me, and it's really the number one issue holding them back from leaving their spouse is that financial worry. And so the women talk to me. And also, I don't want to just blame men as financial abusers. There are plenty of women who are financial abusers. I'm just talking from my experience. Sure. And some of the things that I have learned from women that come to me is quite often, especially if the man owns his own business, is a small business owner, there will be times when he needs to borrow money for his business, and he's jeopardizing the financial health of the family, of the house, getting the family into debt, and the wife is often pressured to sign, to co-sign on loans and so forth, and when she asks, they tell her, you don't worry about it, or I don't have time. Same thing with tax returns. A lot of people are not, believe it or not, they're not honest with their tax returns. Well, that can come and hurt you as the spouse. Yeah. And women are pressured to sign the tax returns, not understanding what's happening. There are women who have come to me who are the breadwinners in the family. The man just doesn't work for whatever reason. He can't find a job, or he's lazy, or whatever. I mean, there's many, I'm not blaming people, but there's all reasons for unemployment. But how many women have come to me and said, I cannot leave my husband. He keeps threatening he's going to go after me for spousal support. And he may have a right for the spousal support, but that kind of threatening to keep you. And the other thing I find often is a lot of men, I don't want to say a lot, because again, I work with so many couples that are really delightful to each other, but sometimes the men will not encourage women to further their education. They won't encourage the women to develop their careers because they want these women to be financially dependent on them. And we hear about obviously physical abuse and emotional abuse, but financial abuse is a serious topic too. Yeah. The shaming that goes on. How we all have different values around money, and the spouse, this happens to men and women, the spouse that will shame the other spouse. You're frivolous with money, you don't understand money, you're stupid, you're terrible, all these kinds of things. And it just leads me to encourage both men and women, become financially literate. Don't assume your spouse is doing the right thing or the legal thing. You just need to really become more aware of this, even if it's a topic you won't want to deal with, because I'm just so sick of seeing women mostly being financially abused in marriages. Yeah. And you've noticed. Yeah. What have you noticed?
Well, certainly in my role as a divorce coach, where oftentimes it's typically women, although I definitely work with men as well, they're coming to me wanting help with an exit strategy. They're like, how do I get out of this marriage? Same thing we were talking about. Oftentimes the first place I send them is Laurie, saying, you might know every affair your husband's had and where he spent money in Vegas with somebody, and you might know all this intimate that he doesn't even know details about his philanderings. What do you know about your financial community? Because that's your real superpower. We're in a no-fault divorce state. You're not going to get more support or more financial assets allocated to you because your spouse was a philanderer. So if you don't take complete responsibility for really knowing your financial well-being, a lot of times I find the women are spending the money. It shows up in the bank account. They're like, oh, I don't know. He just puts it in the bank account and I spend it. He knows all about the long-term planning, the savings, or the debt that's being incurred. And they have this wall between them, divide and conquer. And I'm like, okay, be a sleuth about your finances.
Right.
And really invest in knowing that, because there's no other partnership. You would never do a business financial partnership and not know anything about your books.
Right, just let your business partner run everything and you just say, okay, sure.
Right, and if you did, to your folly. So if you do it in your marriage, to your folly as well.
So in both of your experience thus far, I'm just curious, do you have any advice on how to have that difficult conversation with the spouse who has kept you in the dark all this time? Where does that begin?
Yeah, these are, I always, even telling my kids growing up, the most difficult conversation is always the most important conversation. So do you just skip it because it's hard? The point is you're running a business together. Your marriage is a business.
Business of life, really.
Right. And you have to negotiate, if one's a spender and one's the squirrel, if one thinks getting the purse is important versus the college savings, that's a negotiation. And if your marriage doesn't have fruitful negotiation and an ongoing process of navigating the finances, you're probably going to be headed for divorce sooner than later.
Or, I have met with couples that are not getting divorced, couples that want me as a third-party facilitator, sort of like a mediation, but not really
it's a financial
mediation.
mediation, really.
Exactly.
Where they have different values of spending and saving, and sometimes it's all about just giving tools about how to track, giving tips, giving options. Again, never judging anybody, because when the husband and the wife are arguing with each other, they're judging each other.
Right.
And so having somebody like me, and some financial advisors will do that. It's very helpful. You go to a therapist to help your marriage. Why not go to a financial advisor?
Well, it's financial therapy.
It is financial therapy. But here's, because we're going to talk about divorcing a narcissist in a minute, and to have the money conversation while you're married with a narcissist is very difficult. I don't think it's hard to do it, because once you question a narcissist, I'm concerned about this, or why are we doing this, or this and that, they get very defensive. They don't want to justify themselves. Then you're the horrible person who doesn't trust the narcissist. And so if you feel like there are signs of financial abuse in your marriage, if you are fortunate that you're married to most people who are not narcissists, I think you can broach the subject and say, look, I'm really concerned. What will happen if you die tomorrow? I want to know what the plan is so I can care for our family. Or if you got sick, or if your business, something happened to your business, or you just, if you approach these conversations in a caring way, not threatening way.
Like, I want to help. If something bad happens, I want to be able to help the situation and not be like, well.
But we're all, well, you're not married. We've been married. I'm married, still married. You've been married. You have a boyfriend.
Counts for
anytime, money is a very emotional issue, and people do not like to justify what they do with the money. Right. So again, if you can do it yourself with your spouse, if you need to have a third party, that's great too.